All right. More stories. Well, the last video was kind of long, so I had to cut it off. So I think I left off with a. I was we had a customer, a guy came in there, and you when you run in a club, and I said it before, but you get all this power, and you get all this like you feel untouchable. You're the man. People know who you are. You control this. You oversee this. It goes to your head. And I think anybody, it doesn't matter your age or where you're from, if you get too much of something, some type of power, if it's money, if it's just power itself, if it's just knowledge, you, uh, you could tell a lot about a person, but a lot about a person by how they handle that and how they accept it and deal with it. Some people could be the most humble person in the world, but when they get all this money or power or whatever it is, they become the worst person because it takes them over. And you see it on movies and TV shows, and you probably know somebody. I'm sure some of you people know somebody that leveled up in life or did something in life, and then they forgot who you were. Or they just, rappers and artists and movie stars and stuff. They went to the same high schools we went to. They went to the same schools. They were our best friends growing up and playing hopscotch together. But now they won't even return a phone call. You just want to say hi or something. So I mean, we all know somebody. It's bound to happen. You might get the worst, meanest person in the world that gets all this money and power, and they become the most humble person, donating and stuff because something happened in their life to change them. Each person is their own. I mean, it's just kind of like a roll of the dice on the type of person they are. And I have met lots of celebrities and lots of athletes and lots of artists or whoever. Some are the most humble, gracious people in the world, and some aren't. It's just like, wow, I respect this person, and I hope I could be that like that person if I ever make it, or when I grow up. And then you see this person, you're like, that's the person I don't want to be. But you do become that person. It's bound to happen if you get power or money or anything that puts you in a position above anybody else. So running the club, being in this position and this power, I it went to my head. There was after second, third year, you know, I felt untouchable. I felt like I'm the man, and I remember exactly the incident that made me step back, rethink everything, and try to readjust readjust my liveliness or my mental state. So it's club. It's a Thursday night. We're so busy. We're packed. I mean, it was one of the busiest nights probably. Bartenders I gotta rotate the breaks. It just security. I'm trying to fill in positions, trying to help out to get everybody rotated and it's not even peak, and that was the crazy part. It was before peak, and it was so busy. So I'm washing dishes, and I'm trying to help, because they got to rotate the bartenders, they got to rotate the people. So I'm in there washing dishes. I just told security on the headphones, look, I'm behind the bar, I'm washing dishes. If anything happens, take it up with the assistant managers or the security. You guys just deal with it. Don't bother me. And they're like, yeah. So, and my personal, my friend who was the head of security, bodyguard type guy, he wasn't there that day because I think he called in sick. And I think that's one of the reasons we were really crazy busy, because he usually fills in spots for me. So I'm washing dishes and I'm doing this, and the trash is building up. And, we've got 2,000 people in there, and it's not even 11 o'clock at night yet. People, the line all the way out the door. It's like, issues, fights, things like this. People causing problems. The bartenders we're short on bartenders, so drinks aren't getting out in the club. When the drinks aren't out, people start getting agitated. So I'm just trying to watch it. I'm just trying not to focus on that, washing dishes, and I'm putting it in. The trash is building up. So I go to take out the trash. Now, it's my club. I'm the boss, but it needs to be done. Rather than pointing my finger, saying, hey, take out the trash, I grabbed the trash can, and it was a circle bar. Well, more like a horseshoe bar type thing, but there was only one entrance exit. It's a flip-flap, sliding door. What do you call it? A swinging door. You forget these English words being overseas so long. So it was a swinging door. And so it has a huge sign right outside the door that says, do not stand here. And signs on the side, do not stand here. This area, keep clear. So I go to, and there's this English teacher, this tall, skinny white guy. And I'm like, yo, and I kind of push in the door with my foot, and he looks back at me, and he's just like, and ignores me. So I push the door again, and against the back of his leg. I'm like, hey, move out of the way. And he was like, F you. So I just pushed the door open, pushed him out of the thing, and just took the trash and took it there, put it in, and came back, pushed him out of the way. I said, don't stand here. This is no standing. Don't stand here. Don't make me tell you again. He was like, whatever. So I go in, I'm getting the trash again. I come out, he's standing there, but purposely he's right up against it, like just to spite me. So I was like, hey, and I put down the trash, pushed him aside. I was like, it says don't stand here. I've told you twice already. I'm not going to tell you again. Stay out of the way. We need this to take the trash in and out. You mean common sense. There's only one entrance exit on this bar. Don't block it. So he's like, whatever. And he stands right. He goes right back in front of it. Like, and so I grab the can and with my back, I push it and I knock him over. I take the trash and I put it there and I come back because now I'm hot. I come back and he gets right up in my face. He was like, you lucky I don't beat your butt right now. He's all like this. It's like, when my security saw this and they've already coming to where I was. And before I could do anything, security grabs him. And I was like, get him out of here. I don't want to see him ever again. I don't want to talk to him ever again. Get him out of my face. So he was like, what? You can't do this to me. So they're dragging him out. And so I'm back behind the bar and I'm doing it and stuff, cleaning. And my security comes back and one of them's got a busted nose. I'm like, what happened to you? Like, I think you should know. There was an incident outside. The guy that we just threw out, he kind of elbowed him, busted his nose, and when that happened, we kind of taught him a lesson. We gave him a good beat down, and I'm like, what? I don't even care. He deserved it. In my nature and stuff, I would have never said that usually. I mean, that's just not who I am, who I was. Well, I was who I was at the time, but it's not usually who I am. Anybody knows me. So I was like, I didn't care. Whatever, he deserved it. I just ignored it. And so, and I hear, the guy's calling, he's going to call the cops. He's downstairs. I come downstairs and they worked him over pretty good. I mean, I tried to tell him when you got to do stuff like that, stay away from the face, try to get the lower body. Bruising is much better than, but they didn't listen to me. They went for his face on that one. So I come downstairs and he's down there yelling and screaming all bloody and stuff. And I'm like, I ain't got nothing to say to you. You should have listened to me the first time. I didn't know this was your club. You didn't have to know it was my club. Get out of my face. And I just walked back upstairs. I didn't even talk to him. Didn't listen to him. When I look back at that, yes, I believe the power got to my head. I didn't. Anyway, so the day later, the next day, the cops come and they show me a picture of my best friend, my head of security, and my bodyguard. They showed me a picture of him and they were like, where's he at? And I'm like, he's in the back. They're like, can you call him? I was like, yeah, sure. So I called him out and they were like, we heard that you had beat this guy up yesterday. This the guy who got beat up. And so I'm thinking, he wasn't even here yesterday. So this is a closed case. He was off. He was sick or whatever. So they're like, can you come down to the station with me? And he looks at me and I was like, yeah, just go answer the questions, come back when you're done. And a word of advice, don't ever do that. In Japan, the law states they can hold you for 26 or 28 days without processing you. So in the States, it's like 24 hours or 48 hours, whatever it is. Here, it's 26 or 20, it's 20 some days. So you can be locked up in jail for 20 some days while they're figuring out if they can press charges against you or not, and finding reasons to press charges. And you don't even know what it's for. You can't talk to nobody. All you can talk to is a lawyer or, certain people. So they can take you and not put you in jail and just you have no idea why you're there. And then 26 days or 20 whatever days later, they put you in front of a judge and say, this guy has been, we've found evidence that he stole the girl's purse on the train. And you'd be like, what? I wasn't even on the train that day. That was, I just got to Japan, that same day. So it's really a messed up system. So be very careful. If you come over here and you're dealing with the police and stuff, don't think that you're going to be out in 24 hours. It does not work like that here. So do not. So when they took him and I told him to go, he gave them permission. They put him in jail. They locked him up. And I think in that situation, the best way to get out of it or to deal with it is say, I will come to the station on my own with my lawyer and try to work it that way rather than leaving with him. Because if you leave with him, you're going in the cell. So they locked him up. He didn't come back, and I'm trying to figure it out. And then his wife calls me and is like, hey, he's in jail. I'm like, for what? And they're like, they locked him up. And so I went to the police station. I was like, look, he wasn't even working that day, but it didn't matter to them. They had 26 or 20 some days to figure out if he was working or not. It was more or less to prove a point, to hold him for 20 some days. They didn't care if he did it or not. They just proven a point that if you mess up, if you do this kind of stuff, we can hold you. So this was around Christmas, because I remember he missed Christmas because of this. He was in jail on Christmas. And so I'm like, what? You guys, that's not fair. He was off. Now, I can't show him the footage because it's going to get one of the other guys locked up, but I can show him the time card. So I'm showing them the time cards, but they're like, it doesn't matter. We're going to hold it and process it. We're going to investigate it. So they're basically saying they're going to hold him until the max time and then figure it out after that. So the English teacher who did this, he comes to the club like 5 days later and still all bruised and cut up. And so he's like, look, here's the deal. Pay me $5,000 right now, or I'll press charges on that guy and he'll spend time in jail and whatever, however long. I'm like, dude, he wasn't even here that day. He isn't the guy who did this to you. He isn't the security or anybody. And the guy says, I don't care. I don't care which one did it. He was the picture that I pointed at. They got him. Doesn't matter to me. One of them is going to get locked up, or I'm going to get $5,000. Now, what can I do? The guy he's got one of my best friends in jail. There's nothing I can do to get him out because they're going to hold him until that time's up. Either way, he wants $5,000. I'm not going to give him $5,000 because he was being a dick. And so, I was like, I'm not paying you the money, and you got the wrong guy. You don't have any conscience on this whatsoever. And he was like, hey, if you wouldn't have acted so, godlike and threw me out without even talking to me, maybe this wouldn't happen. He was absolutely right. He was absolutely right. If I would have talked to him downstairs or tried to, maybe he wouldn't have went this far. Maybe he would have. I don't know. But I didn't give him the chance. And that's the time I realized I was getting too big for my pants. It was like I would never do that in any other situation. I shouldn't have done it then. Now, my boy's in jail for 26 days. Anyway, this guy, he caused other problems to other places. My boy got out because he wasn't working. They held him for the 26 days. He missed Christmas. I think he missed New Year's Eve as well. It was a horrible situation. And I found out that guy had protested it, or what do you call it? He had stand outside of TGI Fridays trying to protest it because they changed the chicken wings from 6 to 4 or something and didn't tell him, or when he ordered the chicken wings. So he's just a weird guy in all sense, and I don't even think he's in Japan anymore. But that was the time I realized I changed for the worse. I changed for the worse, and I really took like a few days, and I sat there and I thought about different instances, and I'm sure some of these stories I'll tell you, you'll see that in it, of what I would have done in a normal situation and what I've done now, and how I reacted was so wrong. And that's when I decided I'm getting out of the club business. That's when I decided I've got to move to something else. And that was a really a breaking point for me, a changing point in my life. And I'm sad it happened, and I wish it wouldn't have happened. And it affected a lot of people, but it brought me back down to earth. So, yeah. You learn by your mistakes, and what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, type thing. So, if you're a person in a position of power, if you're a person in a position of, whatever, above somebody else, stop and think for a minute. Is this who you are? Is this who you were? What would your family think about you? How would they see you at this? How you're acting? How would your mom look at you at this way? Is it going to change? I don't know. Maybe that's who you enjoy, being that person, talking down to people or treating people worse. And one thing I never did was talk down to people, unless they acted stupid like that. Yeah, I mean, to me that was just drunk and stupid. Was just, I can't handle being disrespected. I don't care if you spit on me or call me whatever name you want to call me, or tell me to go back to my country. That's fine, but don't disrespect me or anybody around me. Don't don't just respect is just I've earned that. I've earned that respect for everything I've done in my mind. So I hate being disrespected. So I always, in my mind, I don't care what you do for work, who you are, where you work, what you're doing. We're all the same. We just have different jobs, and I always try to keep it that way. I mean, if I've ever disrespected somebody, I apologize. I mean, I didn't mean to, but I always do try to keep it as I will go out of my way to help a kid working at McDonald's if he needs it, just because you never know. I might have had to work at McDonald's too. I don't know. I think I applied at McDonald's. They didn't hire me when I was in high school. Oh well. But that's what it is. That was a changing point in my life, and hope you enjoy it.